Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening and welcome to round 4 of the Hype Energy AOR F1 PS4 season, and after 3 excellent races covering countries such as Australia, China and Bahrain, we arrive in Europe to begin a 5-track tour of some of F1's classic heartlands, and we are here at Spielberg for the Austrian Grand Prix. I am Mark of Gaming Alimonda, and my usual commentary partner Ali Kidd is not with me this evening, but I hope he is enjoying his evening and maybe catching out the action. So here at Spielberg, we've seen some great races here in the past, and as you can see, there are some track facts on your screen right now, including that infamous crash for Brendan Lee in esports on F1 2017. With average speeds around the 240 km/h mark, the 4.3 km circuit is one of the fastest the drivers will encounter this year. We'll be seeing last year's lap time smashed. In terms of that whole time, we're looking somewhere in the 1-minute freeze, I would have thought. And in terms of this track, well, very fast-paced track, this one. One of the shortest on the calendar. In terms of track length, this is in the bottom 5 in terms of the track length. So with 3 DRS zones on F1 2018, it's going to be very difficult for the lead car to break the DRS after they overtake cars. So expect a fast and furious race throughout. It's certainly going to be very difficult for anyone. Now, in terms of the 3 tyre choices available, we have the softs, super softs and ultra softs. Now, in terms of the ultra softs, very much a qualifying tyre, so we're expecting a lot of drivers out there to be using the super soft tyres to qualify on. But in last season's race in season 16, the 2 Red Bull drivers used to very good effect the soft tyre at the start and then finished on the super softs, and it was one of the Red Bull drivers in Tim who won the race last season. Now, some of these track records may be out of date just a little bit because this was the updated track info that I got. But there is the 4.3 km circuit, only 10 corners on this particular track, 3 DRS zones, so expect to see plenty of overtaking into turns 3, 4 and on the start finish straight between 10 and 1. 10 in particular, a very important corner to get the exit right there. So let's go straight into qualifying, and we are on track and we are on board with Lee Finley, who's had some impressive results so far this season, it has to be said. And while we wait to see him on his out lap, we're going to just have a quick look at the championship standings. So let's get on to a wider shot. Now, after 3 rounds off the championship, Dominic Hoffman, aka Schnitzel, leads the championship by 15 points on 68. With Lucas Blakely's excellent win last week at China closing the gap to 15 points, and then Dominic's Renault teammate Jarno on 48 points, only 20 points between the top 3. Last season's champion Michael, well, it's been a bit of a Greek tragedy for him so far this season, 41 points off the lead, and given that there's only 7 rounds to go, including this one, that's quite a lot of points that he's going to have to try and claw back. Whether he can do that remains to be seen, but he's going to have to start getting some big results that we were so accustomed to him getting last season. Now, in terms of the team championship, well, only one team has really taken the headlines, and that is Renault. 3 double podiums to start the season, and that is why they have a massive 63-point advantage to the McLaren team at this stage. The battle for the second place actually pretty close. Only 23 points between McLaren, Williams, Haas and Sauber. And then outside the top 5, well, it's been a pretty nightmare start for the drivers outside of the top 5. I mean, look at that. I mean, Toro Rosso only 8 points and, 7 points covering 6th to 10th. So, those teams outside the top 5 in the team standings, they've really got a lot of work to do. Right then, so let's have a look at the qualifying session, which is going on at the moment. As I say, in terms of the pole time, 103s on the Ultra Soft is what we're looking at. And so far, my chat isn't actually working, so I can't actually see any of your comments so far. So I do apologise if I don't answer any of your questions or anything like that. But YouTube chat does not appear to be working at this moment in time. So hopefully we'll get that back later on. So Sean setting an early pace for 1:03.6, which may be more bank collapse from these drivers. So we're just on board with Demon at the moment, who scored his first points of the season last week, but unfortunately got them taken away after the race due to penalties. I think it was a steward's inquiry, which shows the reason he lost those points. So we'll be looking to score points again here today. So we'll carry on with him for a few more moments. The end of turn 3 to 4. We'll see a lot of overtakes into this heavy braking zone here. Splendid orange McLaren, bright sunshine above the track at Spielberg, somewhere the home of Red Bull Racing, of course. So Christian Horner will be very keen to see one of those Red Bull drivers on the podium at least, although given how Clarkey and Alex's seasons have started, that could be a tall order for them. As Demon heads through the end of Sector 3, I think he's going to back off, so we'll move on. Danny MG then, in the Mercedes, on the softs. Trying to get a feel for the track. In terms of the gaps at the moment, well, quite a big gap at the moment. We haven't seen any of the real big hitters just yet. Schnitzel is actually on track, so Schnitzel is actually 1.4 seconds on the pace, but clearly getting a feel for the track, not going for serious times, must have backed off on that one. Lucas is on an outlap on the super soft, so I think that could be a lap to really worth checking out for the McLaren team. Renault 1-2 at Australia, absolutely dominating, and then Lucas, you know, after that, you know, he finished 5th in Australia, got so many penalties. It was an unusually sloppy race for him, but he's really hit back, and he's been the only driver who's really been competitive against the two Renault drivers of Schnitzel and Jan Otmar. A second place at Bahrain, then an absolutely brilliant drive at Shanghai last week to take the victory, forcing Schnitzel into a mistake in the closing laps, and allowing him to take the maximum 25 points there. And so Paris moves up to 2nd position in the Toro Rosso, just over 2 tenths away from Sean's current time. So let's go on board with Lucas, because this is going to be very interesting. Super soft time going here. The current best super soft time is a 1:04.413. So if Lucas hooks up the lap without any invalidations, I'm sure he will go far quicker than that. So here comes Lucas then, heading to what is a very short Sector 1 at this track. Very nice entry into that corner, got plenty of speed, no wheel spin, so that's a brilliant exit there. It's a very tricky corner, that one. It's sort of an uphill undulation on the braking, then you go further uphill. He struggled to get the traction down, but he had that car beautifully set up through there. Now heading through the middle sector of this lap. It's a nice flowing circuit, this one. You know, you don't really get much chance to breathe at this track because the field is going to be so close. Bit of traffic up ahead for Lucas, but shouldn't be a problem. Through the end of Sector 2, and the Haas gets out of the way kindly. And heading into the final sector, then you have to be so committed to this corner. Watch out for that raised curve on the inside. You don't want to hit that. If you clump that, you will be in trouble. And Lucas heads for the line then, and it's just off the pace of the Ultrasoft runners. So that was a 1:03.644. So a very decent marker on the super soft tyres for the time being, just off the pace of Sean and Kieski. Now in terms of the strategy for this particular race, well, one stop was the winning strategy in last season's race, which was softs to super softs. So ultra soft to soft, super soft to soft, and soft to super softs. They're your three main strategies. Two stop doesn't really work at this track on this particular game, so I don't expect anyone will be able to make the two stop work unless there is a safety car of some kind. Now that Lucas has done his flying lap, let's focus our attention to Michael, the reigning champion, driving for Williams Esports. It's been a, shall we say, mixed start for him so far. Last season he started with 3 podiums in a row, a win, a second and a 3rd place. This season he's only had 1 podium so far, and had a really unfortunate race last week, got caught up in some incidents and he didn't score points, and it's been a long time since he's failed to score points. Looking back, the last time he failed to score points was at the, and I mean when he actually competed, because he didn't attend the British Grand Prix last season, was the French Grand Prix round 8 of season 16. That's the last time he failed to score points. So that just shows you how consistent Michael was last season, because he scored points in 19 of the 20 races he competed in, winning 5 of them. But this season, it's not been quite as easy for him. And he's on the softs at the moment, so trying to get a bank lap. So in terms of the soft times, the best soft time at the moment is a 1:04.250 from Lee Finley. So that's your benchmark for the soft runners at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how Michael does in terms of that time. He's going to get a bit of a toe from his teammate here. We saw this at China. These two were title rivals last season, of course, but now teammates for Williams Esports and driving the Williams cars. And Roy, speaking of which, the guy that Michael just overtook, had an excellent race at China last week. From near the back of the grid, he finished P4. If he'd had a couple of extra laps, he may have even been able to come on the podium, but just a bit out of reach of the pace of the top 3 ultimately. But nonetheless, a real return to form for the driver who finished in the runners-up position last season. So here comes Michael then, just over 7 minutes of the session to go. Through the last corner Michael goes. What's this going to be? Is this going to be the fastest soft time so far in this session? And no, it isn't actually. So, unless he wasn't fully committed to that lap, but that's actually only good enough for P10 at the moment. So, but I would imagine he is warming himself up for a super soft run. So Lucas going very early on that super soft run, the only one in the top 10 currently who has set a time on the super softs. Now let's focus our attention to Jarno, because Jarno is out there as well. One of the top 3 in the championship, finished in the top 4 of the championship last season, and currently in P7, and set a time on the softs of a 1:04.317. So just off the soft pace of Lee Finley. So that actually shows you how decent the time that was from Lee Finley on the hardest compound we have available here at Spielberg today. So Lee Finley, well, he's had an impressive start to his career in the top tier of AOR. You know, it's a difficult race in Australia, but P5 and P8 last time out in China, so he's proven he's not just here to make up the numbers so far. There's only actually 6 drivers on the grid currently who have scored points in all 3 rounds, those being the top 3 in the championship in Schnitzel, Lucas and Jarno, and then Stay Frosty, Casper and Roy also scored points in the other 3 rounds, although Stay Frosty's points to run will be at an end because he is not attending the race tonight, unfortunately. But we have 20 drivers out there for tonight's race, and I think the Saubers will certainly be a midfield team to look out for. Hugo scoring his first points of the season last week with a brilliant pre-7, which put him up to 10th in the championship standings. So it's a relatively quiet grid at the moment. So the pace is a 1:03.565 from the four-cylinder driver of Key 123, just ahead of Sean in the Ferrari. But, you know, tantalisingly close to Lucas on those Susos. Now I wonder if Lucas will go for the Ultra Sauce. Maybe trying to give the Renault something to think about. If indeed the Renaults go on the alternate strategy, that could be a key question of this particular race. What one-stop strategy will they pick? There are 3 different one-stop strategies you can pick here, but depending on traffic, there's not too much between them. Although if you go for the ultra soft strategy, you will be in for an extremely long stint on the softs. The tyre life on the softs at the end of the race, as we saw in last season's Austrian Grand Prix, is not particularly good. So I'm not so sure that starting on the ultra softs here is the optimal strategy if you're doing a one-stop, because the stint on the softs is so long. You just don't have any real time performance, as Sean goes a little bit quicker in the Ferrari at 1:03.481. So the benchmark heading down towards the 1:03 flat area for the ultra softs that we were expecting from the pre-race chat among the drivers. Now let's just see. Schnitzel, both Renaults in the pits, as is Lucas, so they are clearly waiting for the final sort of rush of laps there. Anyone else out there? What about Max Steel? So Force India currently P2 and P4, which is actually a really good showing from them so far. Only 1 driver in the top 5 on the Super Softs, and that is Lucas. So 4 Ultra Soft runners in the top 5. Then we got Demon in P6, Alvaro in P7, Danny MG in P8, Lee Finley in P9, and then Jarno in P10. So at the moment, Lee Finley setting the benchmark for the soft runners. Let's see, what tyres are they fitting in the pit lane? Well, it looks like a mixture. A lot of Super Softs being fitted for Lee Finley, Jarno. Also Roy fitting some Super Softs in the pits as well. Michael's got some work to do, and he has actually fitted the Ultra Softs which is an interesting choice actually. I was more expecting him to go for the Super Softs. So it's going to be a very interesting final part of qualifying, and Lucas has actually opted for the Ultra Softs. So Ultra Softs for one of the title contenders at the moment. So although that was an impressive time on the Super Softs, he's actually going all out aggressive. I mean, it's too late to do a sort of banker lap now. So this is going to be an all or nothing affair for Lucas. So he may compromise himself in strategy later on, but he will certainly get grid position if he nails this lap. Interestingly, the Renaults splitting their strategy. Jarno has fitted the Super Softs and Schnitzel has fitted the Ultra Softs, but maybe trying to dummy the other teams into doing something different. Lee Finley on the Super Softs as well. So let's keep an eye on Lucas, because Lucas is clearly going to be the first runner. So Lucas crosses the line. Actually, he's backed off. Not going for now. Maybe trying to warm the tyres a little bit, as the Force India of Max in P3, but with the track evolution may not stay there. So Lucas obviously has enough fuel for another run, otherwise he wouldn't be backing off like this. He's only going to get one shot at it, that is for certain. So keep an eye on someone else. Lee Finley's on an outlap. Anyone else out there at the moment? Key's out on an outlap. Yeah, mostly outlaps at the moment. It's going to be a very exciting end to this qualifying session, you do sense. There's Nicholas from the SUV team heads for the first corner. Let's have a look at what have the top two on another set of Ultra Softs. That's Sean and Keyski. Lucas, keep an eye on what he's doing. There's going to be a lot of traffic out here. It's not the biggest track, of course. So there's going to be a lot of cars being squeezed out. So getting space here could be at a premium. So we've got Jarno, Schnitzel and Lucas, I'm sure, going to be the three drivers who are going to be heavily competing for this pole position. But don't rule out the likes of Michael or maybe even Roy to get into the mix. And someone we haven't talked about so far is Casper, who's quietly had a pretty impressive start to life in the top tier. 2 P7s in the opening 2 rounds and a P5 at China. So one of the more impressive midfield runners for the Haas team at the moment. In fact, both Haas runs are going really well recently. So Lucas is once again, it's an extra lap for Lucas. So Lucas is going for the absolute last moment to do this lap. Or maybe he's just trying to fool the opposition into doing something different. So may have a look at Jarno then. Jarno's building up for a lap on the Super Soft, so he's got a 1:03.644 to beat in terms of the Super Soft times. That is the fastest Super Soft time so far. What about Sean? Sean is on a lap. 1:03.481. Yep, maximum power definitely on the attack for these Ultra Softs. Alex has moved up to P5 for Red Bull. Paris P6 for Toro Rosso. So in a decent position at the moment. And that lap by Alex was actually on the Super Softs, and not far off Lucas's best. So Demon up to P8. So Lucas, here we go, full attack for Lucas, but we're going to focus on Sean, because Sean's going to finish his lap before Lucas. Just going to see what Schnitzel has actually finished P18. What on earth's happened to the championship leader? P18 for Schnitzel. Well, that is absolutely bizarre, but we're going to keep an eye on the Ferrari driver with Sean, who's having his best qualifying session of the season so far. Heads to the line. What's it going to be? Can Sean improve? And he does, a 1:03.397. Let's have a look at Jarno. Jarno's heading towards the final part of the lap. Where is Lucas? Lucas is just behind, so let's have a look at Jarno. Jarno is on the Super Softs. So the Renault team split the strategy, but it's gone horribly wrong for Schnitzel though. Down in P19. What is Jarno going to do? It's going to be only P14. Wow. What on earth has happened to the Renault team? Has their luck run out? And and look at that. Lucas backing off the last minute. So he has gone. It's worked out beautifully for him. Absolutely beautifully. For Lucas, in terms of the strategy, he will start as the highest running Super Soft runner, and his two nearest title rivals are both well down the order, P15 and P20 for the two Renaults, the all-conquering Renaults who had 2 double podiums in the first 3 races of the season. Anyone else out there? Well, a lot of cars stopped out of the track. We'll need to get some trucks to recover some of these cars. Jarno's car is in bits. Bit of a repair job. needing to be done overnight to get those cars ready for the race. So, not the qualifying session I expected, to be honest. None of the top 3 starring. But it is an unexpected pole position for a driver who hasn't scored a point from the first 3 races. Not including stewards' inquiries, of course, but wow, that is a unbelievable result. And it is Sean, the Dutchman from Ferrari, a 103.397, taking pole from the Toro Rosso of Paris by just under a tenth of a second. Kiski in 3rd, Tough in 4th. Then we've got Lucas in 5th, Leafini in 6th, Alex in 7th, Clarkey in 8th, Roy in 9th, Demon in 10th. Then we've got Alvaro, Danny, Michael, Ruben, Jarno, Daridos, Hugo, Nicholas, and then rounding up the grid is Casper, and at the back of the grid, unbelievably, is Schnitzel, who must have had a nightmare session. He's going to have to do it all from the back of the grid, although he will get fresh choice of tyres, of course, so that will be very useful for him. So he's going to have to get some overtaking on, but as we saw last season, starting from outside the top 10 doesn't necessarily hurt your chances, because the Red Bulls really made that soft to super soft strategy work brilliantly. And you know, if it wasn't for a disconnect, Roy would have won the race last season, but his teammate Tim did win the race on the same strategy. So don't count out the Renaults just yet, folks, because they have still a strong chance if they've got the same sort of race pace that we've seen from the opening 3 rounds of the season. So we're just going to wait for the formation lap. And it is bright sunshine above Spielberg at the moment, and no forecast for rain, so this is going to be a rip-roaring 36 laps all the way. And well, Lucas is in a dream position. If Lucas can just stay out of trouble, he'll be able to pick off the Ultrasoft runners not too long after the race has started, because their tyres will not last too long at their optimum performance before they start dropping off. And Lucas will be in a brilliant position. And what he'll probably be hoping is that some of the faster drivers outside the top 10 will just get held up so much in traffic that doing that longer stint on the softs means he will be able to build up a gap, so that even when the super soft runners are on their tyres later on, he'll have enough of a gap to sort of coast it home. So Lucas is in the prime seat at the moment in terms of strategy, but anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does, as they say. So Sean leading the formation lap. Unfamiliar positions. I mean, for the top 4, by far their best qualifying performances of the season. It's a very different top 4 for this particular race compared to what we've seen so far this season. And that is good to see. Shows you the depth of the grid here this season, which has lost certain drivers, including former champions this season, but those who have come in and replaced them doing an excellent job, at least in qualifying so far. So notably also the reigning champion Michael in P13. So let's have a look at what tyres they've gone for outside the top 10. All softs outside the top 10. So that's interesting. No one's gone for an aggressive strategy in the ultra softs, which of course I would not expect them to do. That would be a rather silly thing to do. But no one, interestingly, on the super softs to sort of gain some positions. So those soft tyres are not going to perform very well in the opening laps. So they've really got to concentrate on just staying out of trouble. But this is the man, Lucas, who huffed and puffed at China and caused Schnitzel to lose it slightly, giving him the win. Well, Lucas, well, some would say without some bizarre luck towards the back end of last season, could well have been with a shout winning the championship, but maybe this shorter format is really suiting him just that little bit better. And if he can win here today, then he could well take the lead of the championship, although he's got 15 points to make up to Schnitzel. So here we go then, the grid will start to build up from the race here at Spielberg. 36 laps of this 4.3 kilometer circuit coming up. And everyone's keeping quite close, so it shouldn't take too long before we have the 5 red lights here at Spielberg. But let's switch our attention to the top 2 on the grid. Sean versus Paris on row 1 with the 2 Force Indias. Watch out for them flying right behind. They're Force Indias on this game, so I'm going to keep calling them that until F1 2019. Alright then, so let's get a good camera angle. Here we go then. 5 red lights. They're held for long. Lights out, and away we go. And it's a brilliant start from Paris in the Toro Rosso, straight into the lead of the race. And the other Force India will try to challenge, and Lucas is already up to P4, gets squeezed slightly by the Force India behind. few drivers taking to the escape on the outside, and now the Ferrari of Paris trying to come back at the Toro Rosso of Paris. They go into the... Oh, they've gone very deep. Paris has gone deep. It manages to defend. And look at that behind. Lucas is challenging already for P3 on the other Force India. Can he get the move done? We'll go on board with the Force India. And look, there is the McLaren on the outside. The McLaren will take to the outside. He's going to have the inside for the following corner at turn 5 and 6. Can he get the move done? Squeezing down the inside. Now the Force India still defending. This could be a huge move in the race, and what a lap it's been for Lucas so far. 5th to 3rd, and he, don't forget ladies and gentlemen, is on those super soft tyres, so strategically it's been a dream start for him. And Jarno though, for Renault, is up to P9 already, so a great start from one half of the Renault team, as we see Sean going very wide just before the final corner. So looks like a relatively clean start in terms of the top 10. We don't know what, if anything else happened. The reigning champion Michael has had a pretty difficult first lap. He's down to P19, so he's got some work to do. And let's go down the order a little bit. 2 Force Indias maybe about to go into combat here. It's Alex just behind in the Red Bull. Oh yeah, he's going to go for a dive bomb on his teammate. It's actually a really good overtake. Squeezes his team out a little bit. Oh, no team orders between these two. Oh, my Hitzfeld covers his head. Doesn't want to see any sort of action. And Alex will be sniffing a little bit of this. Will he go Danny Rick down the inside on at least one of the Force Indians? No, he backs off using all his experience there. Doesn't need to ruin his race immediately. Lee Finley right behind them, and Roy once again proving to be the lead Williams driver at the time being, Jarno just behind him. So back to the front, Paris still leading from Sean as they sweep through the middle sector of sector 2. That didn't make sense when you say it. Oops, my bad. So Sean trying to put pressure. DRS will be activated at the end of this lap. Paris running a little wide out the final corner. Oh, Jarno has got a drive-through penalty for corner cutting, gaining 3 places. What on earth's happened to Jarno there? Well, Jarno must have made an absolutely horrendous mistake somewhere. He has just gone up to P6. But wow, it's not good news for Renault at the moment. Schnitzel battling the reigning champion for P18 at the moment. As Sean tries to put pressure on him, and actually the top 3 are already scampering away from the others. The other Force India of Tough Max has actually dropped all the way down to P10. I'm sorry we're not seeing any of the midfield action at the moment, but this is getting very tense up at the front between Paris and Sean. Lucas is keeping a watching brief. He just needs to bide his time until the tyres and the ultra softs with 2 ahead wore off, which the way they're batting won't be too long. And he's already well ahead, so he's not under threat from behind. This is perfect for Lucas. He's not having to use any of his tyres at the moment, and just bide his time. We'll see the winners and losers of the opening laps shortly, and once again, Paris having a little bit of problems with that final corner. Running wide again, not good for his traction. Sean getting very close. Will he move to the inside? Ooh, he half move. Just going to try and force Paris wide, and he does. And once again, Paris's traction will be heavily compromised. Ruben has retired from the race. So that's one Ferrari gone, but the other Ferrari is about to take the lead of the race and easily outdrags the Toro Rosso into turn 3. Just needs to get it slowed down. And can Paris come back at him? Looks like his Ultrasofts are not looking too good at the moment. That may soon put him into the clutches of the McLaren of Lucas. So let's go down the order just a little bit. I just want to see what's going on with some of the other drivers. Let's have a quick look at Lee Finley. So Lee Finley in P7 at the moment, just ahead of Danny MG and the other Mercedes of Nicolas Matteo. Outside the top 10, Schnitzel and Michael are really caught up in the midfield. But Jarno, wow, he got that drive-through penalty. What a massive blow for him that's going to be. Looks like a double podium once again for Renault. Looks highly unlikely at the moment the way it's going. And Jarno is going to serve his drive-through penalty. So here comes Jarno. He raises his hands in frustration. He can't believe it. He thinks it's an absolute disgrace. And apparently the team radio is so bad. Can't be aired here, but that is a nightmare situation for Renault. But we're going to go straight back to the front because once again the top 2 into combat, and Sean has dropped to second again. And Paris went deep into that particular corner, and here comes Sean once again side by side. What a great battle this is for the lead of the race, and Lucas just once again just keeping watching brief. So Paris retakes the lead of the race then here at Spielberg. as we enter the middle of lap 5. So the top 3 separated by less than a second. Lucas, you can tell his tyres are starting to come into really good form. He's now able to follow really closely to the top 2. The Ultrasoft runners, they will be struggling very shortly. So Lucas, 2.2 second advantage to Roy, who's actually moved up to P4. So the Supersoft runners definitely on the march at the moment. Nikiski picks up a 3-second time penalty for a corner cut. So let's keep an eye, let's keep on board with Lucas for now, so you can see what's happening. Went a little bit late on the brakes than perhaps you would have liked, but luckily there was enough of a gap, no threat to hitting the Ferrari out in front. Paris gonna have to keep defending up ahead. Sean again having a half look, trying to distract Paris, trying to force him into a mistake. Here we go then. Top 3 now very close to each other, so let's see if there's any other battles going on at the time being. Let's go down the order and see what the Snits are up to. The championship leader is now past Hugh Golf and right behind Michael, diving down the inside of Hugh Golf, who scored points last week at China, and Hugh Golf is going to lose another place to Clarkey if he's not careful. Battle for P16 at the moment. But for Schnitzer and Michael, this is not where they want to be. For Renault, well, his teammates had a drive-through penalty, and then he'll have to pit again. So heavily compromised. The bright sunshine actually disappearing a little bit, so we're getting overcast conditions apparently shortly, so that may affect the tyre temps just a little bit. We're going to go straight back to the front though, because and look at that, Sean getting all out of shape out of the opening corner. That's going to ruin his chance of making a move on the Toro Rosso of Paris once again. So let's have a look at the winners and losers then from the opening laps. 5 places gained for Roy, 10 places gained for Nicholas, 9 gained for Casper. Brilliant start. Snitzel's gained 6 from P20. He would have liked to have gained a few more, but he's on the soft tyres, so he's going to have to wait to a bit longer in the race for that to come back to him. On that strategy, he will be on the faster tyre come the end of the race, but he's going to have to keep fighting. He's fighting with Demon at the moment. He's just overtaken him for P13. Tell. I mean, look at the rear traction on that Ferrari, not looking too good on those tyres right now. They may be thinking about pit stop soon, and they're going to carry on for now. They're going to have to nurse these tyres a little bit longer. It's too early for the softs. Probably a couple more laps, maybe even this one. Ideally, if you can stretch them to lap 10, that would be ideal for the ultra soft to soft strategy. So once again, Paris goes very wide out of turn 1. He's done that a lot in this race, and he may have quite a few warnings already, which may affect him. And these two drivers are definitely slowing down the field, and Lucas, because now you see behind the likes of Roy and Lee Finley are now beginning to gain on these drivers up ahead. So we'll get the tyres back up. So 7 laps done already here. Casper has just overtaken Maxill for P9. And once again, Paris doing a good job of defending these places, but not able. Down the order just again. Just going to think about a move down the inside. A big lock up the tyres of Alex up ahead. Now they've caught that Force India. That Force India is now really starting to hold up the pack a bit, and even further behind that, actually Michael's dropped off Schnitzel, so Michael got damaged. There's a bit of a train queue forming behind Michael at the moment, the reigning champion. Look at that up ahead. There's lots of action here. The Red Bull of Max almost getting swamped, but it's actually the Force India of Max. Oh, it's not gone right. Max getting an awful exit, and that nearly caused a huge concertina effect. So here comes Schnitzel, the championship leader, trying desperately to get ahead of some of these drivers, but we're going to have to switch gears because we're going to go back to the front again, because Sean getting the switchback on Paris. And now he's going to move side by side. We'll go on board with Lucas so we can get the best view of the top 2 up ahead, and Roy is right behind them both. Lucas will go to the inside, almost free wide into turn 4. Lucas will squeeze out the Toro Rosso, and surely he'll have better traction now on those super softs and the ultra softs on Paris, and he was really starting to struggle now with tyre wear. So I think at least one of the 2 ultra soft runners here are going to be coming into the pit as we finish the 9th lap here. So Lucas effectively waiting for Sean to pit, and then he will take the lead of the race. But Roy has had a brilliant first stint himself, not far off this battle here. Will Paris pit? No, they're going to carry on for now. They have got the track position, so they can afford to go another lap. Likes of Max Steel definitely may have to pit soon because they are so badly struggling there. Alex has actually lost some positions. Yeah, some pit stops happening. Here comes Lucas then. McLaren versus Ferrari like the F1 of old, and Lucas dives down the inside and takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. And while that's been happening, Roy has just moved up to P3 with an overtake on Paris, whose tyres look completely shot now, it has to be said. Given the other Ultrasoft runners have pitted, it looks like the rest of them are about to join them in that respect. So Sean in P2 at the moment, a great pole position, he's still in a decent position. Now he's going to have to do a long stint on those soft tyres. He's about to come in with that all-out shape coming out of the start of Sector 3. I expect to see that Ferrari leading off the pit lane yet. No, he's going to carry on for another lap, so he's stretching them out. This is going to cost him time, but he may regain that by doing less laps on the softs later. I think there's going to be a battle for P2 very imminently here. So Lucas tries to break out the DRS. This is going to be very important. Look how much Sean is defending this. He's going to use every ounce of those tyres, but here comes Roy. He's going to go to the inside. Roy goes to the inside. Side by side through turn 3 they go, and the superior traction of those super soft tyres will get the job done. Look, Sean's got DRS as well. Can Sean come back at the Williams? Yes, he certainly can. But no, Sean has to yield in the end, and that's what's crucial for Roy, because that's kept him within DRS range of Lucas. Lucas is going to find it very tricky to break out that DRS, because he's got 3 DRS zones here. Which makes it so much harder, as we get a nice helicopter shot of the track here, as Sean sees the 2 leaders scampering off the distance. So Schnitzel has now moved up to P9. He's slowly making his way through the field. No, and actually he carries on. But here we go then. Paris will pit. First of the leaders to pit. Oh, it's a 5-second stop-go penalty. Oh no. Well, Toro Rosso team on the pit wall, hang their head in disbelief. Their drivers made a very basic error there, and that's probably spoiled any chance he had of getting onto the podium. That 5 seconds will be added to the end of the race, and given how short a lap is here, regaining 5 seconds, very difficult task indeed. And look at this, Roy is on the attack with the DRS, and he's not letting Lucas get away whatsoever. So, you know, Roy, we didn't really see much of him in the opening 2 races, but at China we saw his pace return, and once again we're seeing that here. He's on the same strategy as Lucas, so he's really doing a good job so far. So let's look in terms of the gap to the leader. So the gap to the leader is 12 seconds between Lucas and Schnitzel at the moment in terms of the battle at the top of the standings. As it stands, Lucas would be taking the lead of the championship. Schnitzel actually in a fairly decent position, but he is losing a lot of time as Sean finally pits. Will he make the same mistake that Toro Rosso made? Nope, gets to slow down. Well done. The Ferrari pit crew come out, but we will go straight back on track because Lee Finley now under attack from the Mercedes of Danny MG, the 2 SUV drivers trying to get involved in the action here. So Lee Finley now under attack, may get swamped by both Mercedes, almost 3 wide into turn 3. And round the outside goes Danny MG, out dragging with the DRS, beginning to slow down very nicely. So a really well executed overtake. Can Nico come through as well? Mercedes on the march. Lee Finley has the outside. This is a sign that the super soft tyres are starting to pass their best optimum performance, as the soft runners seem to be the quickest at the moment, at least outside the top 2. As they sweep through this brilliant section here. A very good camera view there. So current top 10 is Lucas, Roy, Danny MG, Lee Finley, Nicholas, Casper, Schnitzel, Michael, Alvaro and Demon. The pit stops are starting to emerge here. We've had 5 pit stops so far. All the ultra soft runners are pitted now. It'll be a few more laps before we see the super soft runners pit. But we're going to switch our attention now to the battle for the top 2. I'm just going to see what happens here. We can even say no, actually we're going to switch straight to Roy, because Roy is very close to the back of Lucas. And then we'll switch back to Nicholas. Nicholas going for a move on the inside Lee Finney. That is a lunge and a half there, and he gets it done. Oh, slight wheel banging there. And they're going to continue this as they head down towards turn 4. But Nicholas has better tyre life at this point, so he will take P4. So Mercedes running in P3 and 4 at the moment, so it's a very good race for them. At this moment in time, they have found points. A bit of a struggle so far this season, but if they were to finish in this position, they would leap up the constructors' standings. So Schnitzel 2.1 seconds behind Casper. Just shows you how much time he's lost battling for P20. And I suppose it wasn't really helped by the fact that everyone outside the top 10 started on the soft tyre, so there was no real pace advantage on that tyre, and they're all on the same strategy, so he's going to have to overtake his way past these guys. So Michael picks up the time penalty, currently running in P8. He's leaping in pits up at 40 laps. Here comes Roy then. Roy for the lead of the race. Lucas didn't really deem it worthy to defend it. Going to try and get back on the switchback. But here comes Lucas. He's going to try and come back. The lead changes once again. We've seen multiple leads of changes here so far. We're only on lap 15. We've still got another 21 laps to go here. Lucas side by side with Roy, but I think Roy's going to have just a little bit more advantage. And yes, he does. He got on the power just a little bit better. So Roy takes the lead once again. Roy proving to be a real master of this Spielberg circuit. We saw it in this tier last season. We saw it in the esports event as well. And now once again he is showing what an outstanding performer he is at Spielberg, and both of them pit then. So the Supersoft runners pit, and that will promote the two Mercedes drivers into lead the race. So it's McLaren versus Williams in the pit lane. Let's see. Their pit garages are pretty close to each other, so this is a straight fight. So here we go then. Lucas, this could be crucial. If he gets held, can he get out in front of Roy? Oh, he's being held. Well, I thought for a second he was going to get a glitch, and that would have been horrendous bad luck. But Roy, has Roy got out ahead? What's happened to Roy? Roy, oh no. Oh, dearie me, I can't believe it. There is Claire Williams is shaking her head on the pit wall. Roy is stuck in the pits, and after an outstanding first in, it looks like the pit lane glitch has struck again. It affected Lucas last season, and this time the luck has gone badly wrong for Roy, and that is, well, I have no words for that whenever that happens. It's outrageous that can happen. So Roy's chances of winning the race evaporating before our very eyes. But that is good news for Lucas. He would not want to gain a position that way. But we're going to have to move on, ladies and gentlemen. So your current race leader is Danny MG, and I'm not sure I've ever seen Danny MG lead a race in this top tier, but it's a good moment for him, and it's a Mercedes 1-2. A sight we certainly don't see too often in real Formula 1, and Roy has retired from the race, so some sort of clutch failure in the pit lane. The car just wouldn't get going again. And yes, I know I'm saying that with tongue firmly in cheek. So we haven't talked about him much, but Casper has had a very solid first stint on those softs. He's currently in P3. He's got Schnitzel closing rapidly on him. Let's have a quick look at Lucas, because Lucas, you know, he's got to get on with it. He's got to get past some drivers, so he's just passed Hugh Golf, and now he's got, now interestingly, Sean, who pitted, actually managed to get the undercut on Lucas, so he's actually ended up ahead of Lucas. So this effectively is your battle for the net lead at the moment. In terms of the top 10, you've got Danny MG, Nicholas, Casper, Schnitzel, Michael, and Jarno. Jarno is actually making his way back through the route, but don't forget, Jarno hasn't pitted yet. Without that drive-through, who knows where he'd be? He'd be probably the leader of the race at the moment on track, I would say, because he was ahead of the Mercedes very early on. Hugo picks up a 5 speeding penalties so far today. A few of the drivers need to go on their driving courses because they keep dodging that speed limit badly. Let's have a look at Lucas again. Let's see where he's now closing in on Sean. So this is your battle for the net lead at the moment. But Paris is right there as well, but he's got that 5 seconds of penalties, of course. So this is your battle for the net lead, and then up ahead, Alvaro has been overtaken by Jarno. So in terms of the top 5, your next battle looks like it's going to be between Schnitzel and Casper. And Michael, who had a difficult start to the race, has somewhat recovered some of his pace because he's now, you know, within sight of Schnitzel, within DRS range. But for Schnitzel, well, he's got to hope that those super softs, he can get those running straight away, because he'll have serious pace at the end of the race. But will it be enough for him to recover a podium? So Nicholas pits then, versus soft ones, 80 laps on the softs. So despite all that, and that's a really good entry from Schnitzel, and that puts him right on the exhaust fumes of Casper. And I don't think Casper's going to fight this too much. And Michael's going to dive to the inside as well. Yeah, I think Casper knew the game was up. He knows he's not quite in the same pace league. And look at that horrible entry from Schnitzel, and this will allow Michael to get alongside Schnitzel and get out ahead of him. So Schnitzel got the move done, but carried too much speed from the DRS, and that cost him. Michael gets back out in front ahead of Schnitzel, and that is P2 for Michael for the time being. But oh, look at that, Michael going slightly deep into the following corner, but managed to get it slowed down. So let's get some telemetry on the screen so we can get an idea what their battery life is like. Very similar actually, they've managed it pretty well. It's not easy to recover battery energy on this particular track. As Casper continues to challenge. Just behind, this is quite a nice little battle to watch, but I think we're going to switch gears a little bit. Let's have a look at Lucas. Oh my goodness, Alvaro went into Toros and that distracted Sean a little bit, and he's gone very deep, and here comes Lucas, and watch out for Parrish just behind. We're going to go to Paris so we can see everything that's going on. Lucas backed off. I think he's going to wait for these two main DRS areas. Paris picks up another penalty, so I think any chance Paris had of being on the podium definitely extinguished with that extra penalty. Now Lucas is going to try and take it to the inside and half a look. Oh, a slight tap to the back, and look out for Paris around the outside. An outrageous attempt by Paris to go around the outside, but just never has the traction there. And now is Sean going to defend the inside? No, he doesn't cover it. Oh, a late move from Sean, just about on the edge of legality. Goes very deep into the following corner though. Here comes Lucas. Lucas will have the better traction. He's got slightly fresher tyres at this stage of the race, and he moves up into the net lead position. So a fast and furious battle for the net lead of this race. Let's have a quick look at Schnitzel. Schnitzel now right behind Michael, and here they come, Michael and Schnitzel pitting. These drivers are going to be, and Casper as well. Jarno's going to carry on, probably hoping for a lap. Oh, Schnitzel's picked up a 5-second stop-go penalty. Oh my goodness, how many more twists and tails are we going to get here? And that's going to delight Michael. And he's going to go on to the super softs to end this race with that 5-second time penalty. Any chance of a third win from the first 4 races have surely disappeared completely. We'll have to see how far these particular super soft runners are behind when they come out of the pits, because we know from last season's race how quickly the super softs are here in the closing stages of this race. Lap 21 then of this Austrian Grand Prix in Hype Energy AOR PS4 F1. And we've seen some great action so far, but there are some twists to come here. But in terms of the penalty situation, Schnitzel just got 5 seconds for a speeding offence. I'm going to have a quick look at them because he's come out right behind Michael. And this battle could be very key. But also, in terms of the current Jarno pits then, so that's that. So Lucas will take the net lead. But what we haven't noticed in all this is that the 2 Mercedes drivers are actually strategically up the road from Michael and Schnitzel. So the 2 Mercedes drivers all of a sudden have really played themselves nicely. They had a very quiet but very solid first stint, and now, just like the Red Bulls last season, they are now within firing range of the top 3, and now potentially in with a shout of winning this race if they can keep those tyres alive. Because these 3 DRS zones, once again, Lucas cannot break away from the car that's following behind him. We saw this in Roy earlier on. Well, Roy has been talking to Ted Kravitz and is utterly disgusted with what's happened. And he just says he just wants to go home. And well, you can understand his feelings on that. But anyway, back onto the track, and in the top 3 then, Lucas, Sean, Paris, but Danny MG and Nicholas Matteo getting very close to the top 3. Lee Finley on much fresher softs than Paris. Maybe with another solid point score. So for Schnitzel and Michael on those super softs, their first objective will be to get past the 2 Force Indians of Max Still and Kiski, who have been on those softs a long time already. And don't forget Sean and Paris, they started on the ultra softs, so like the 2 Force Indians, they're going to be having much more running on these softs by the end of the race. I see two Mercedes drivers get closer and closer. Sean, once again, good speed on DRS, but Lucas not feeling the need to cover the inside for the time being. The yellows in sector 1, New Golf has retired from the session. Now here comes some action here. Schnitzel will go to the inside and overtakes the first of the Force Indians and moves up to P8. So he hasn't given up hope of getting a podium with that 5-second penalty, though. It's looking like a long shot at this point. Michael just behind, and Michael forces the Force Indian to take avoiding action up to P8. So we're going to go straight back to the front because Sean once again getting a poor exit. 3 retirements so far from this race, 2 on track and 1 in the pit lane. So Lucas, in terms of the first stint, it worked out so well for him. And then one of his rivals saying, I think what he didn't expect was that just not being able to outpace Sean, but Sean's pace has been absolutely brilliant here. We saw that in qualifying, but even on the softs, he's matching one of the current title challenging protagonists. So Sean, this has been a real upturn in form for him today, having not scored in the first 3 races. And even if he doesn't end up finishing on the podium, which he could well do because of the amount of penalties we've seen, he can still be very pleased with his efforts here. Now, Toto Wolff smirks in the background. The 2 Mercedes caught the back of this mini train in the battle for the lead. So, ladies and gentlemen, if Schnitzel and Michael showed the kind of pace we're used to, this could potentially turn into almost a 7 or 8 way fight for the lead of this race. So, wow, this is pretty much perfect. Lap 24 then, now on the 25th lap here at Spielberg. And now what do the Mercedes do? It's going to be tricky for them to overtake because Harris at least is going to get a double toe and DRS from the 2 cars in front. So Danny MG on those supersofts is going to have to pick his moment. In terms of the best position, Danny MG managed a couple of 5th places and I believe a 4th place last season. So if he gets on the podium, it will be his first podium that I have seen him do at this level. So in terms of strategy, it's been an outstanding effort so far from the 2 Mercedes drivers, but that will all count for nothing if they make some sort of mistake. It causes them to lose some wing damage because the cars ahead are going to be much slower than them at this point in terms of tyre life and performance, so they're going to have to pick their moments. Harris is on 13 laps on those softs now, gets all out of shape and drops almost out of DRS range of Sean, but I don't think Danny MG is going to wait. Danny's going to go for a move at turn 9. Oh, that is dangerous. Very dangerous to do a move there. That shows how keen he is to get on with it. May have been better advised to wait a little bit longer, but he may still get a chance to overtake here. Paris still has DRS. They go round the outside at turn 1. Gets the switchback, and to be fair play to Paris, that was really good defending from him. He's going to have to cover the inside now. And here comes Danny MG. He's going to easily outdrag the Toro Rosso into the following corner. And is that his teammate Nico trying to dive down inside of the Toro Rosso as well? Yes, it is. Wow, Paris was so busy defending against one Mercedes, the other one just dived down the inside and took him. So Danny MG now, that's half of it done. Up ahead, Lucas furiously defending from Sean. And I'm sure right now Ali K would be on the edge of his seat if he's watching this. Going out. Lee Finley 2.2 seconds behind this particular battle. Now he'll have Schnitzel and Michael for company very rapidly. So the story is here, Lucas started on the super softs, he's done 10 laps on them. Sean has done 14 laps now on those soft tyres, and he's about to be attacked by 2 rampaging Mercedes. And I think the tyre life for those super softs, I think the optimum performance of them will be off before the end of the race, but they still will be better than the soft runners ahead. This is the time they've got to attack fully now, but Danny doesn't have much battery, neither does his teammate. And they're just sort of following each other along here, and it's allowing them to get so close. And once again, Sean getting very close to the McLaren. And up behind, Schnitzel is going to move up into P6. Schnitzel is not giving this up, has he? He's showing outstanding pace at the moment. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:05.632. He's set. A couple of laps ago. We will go straight back to the front because Danny MG has now got the Ferrari Sean in his sights. He's got to try and save up some battery because he doesn't really have much of it. Sean actually, he's got plenty of it. So Sean's done a pretty good job of saving up the battery in the last few laps, and he knows he's going to need every ounce of that battery power to fend off these two Mercedes cars who have had great pace on those super softs. And another penalty for Max. Oh, Max has had a huge crash somewhere. So let's have a look where it was. I think it was just before, yeah, look, just before turn 10. That's an unfortunate end to his race, but we're going to go straight back to the front for this particular battle. Schnitzel is now within 5 seconds of the leaders, but that's the gap he's going to lose in terms of that penalty he's got. And don't forget, Paris has a 5-second penalty as well. So there's going to be a few switches of position before this is all said and done, not just on track, but after the event. Lap 28 then here at Spielberg. It's a 4-way fight for lead. But if Schnitzel can catch up to these guys, he could make it 5-way. Michael is just behind Lee Finley at the moment in the battle for P7. And Lucas, he's still going to gain ground in the championship as it stands, but he's going to have a big task on his hands. Now Sean, 15-lap-old softs now, not going to be that good at this point. Don't forget, all the drivers were pitting on lap 18 and 19 of their stints on the softs earlier on. Less fuel, of course, so we'll stress the tyres a little bit less. Even so, I mean, the best nick. Not ideal for Ferrari driving. Here comes Danny MG. Danny MG head for the inside. He's going to go for the move on the inside. He's counting on the better grip of those super softs. He's going to go side by side with Sean. And you have the inside for the following corner, but he's got to get the braking weight. He doesn't want to slam into the back of that McLaren up ahead. Oh my goodness. He wasn't that far off, but he gets the move done. A really good overtake there from Danny MG. And now Dan MG will be chasing down Lucas. Outstanding performance here. His best result was a 4th place at Abu Dhabi last season. But this has been by far his best performance in this top tier for the past 2 seasons that I've been commentating on this league. And now Sean will have the other Mercedes for company very shortly. Michael's got ahead of Lee Finley in the battle for P7. Surprisingly, Casper's pace in the Supersofts hasn't been particularly good. I was expecting him to at least be around where Lee Finley is by now, but just hasn't got those tyres to recognition. He needs to have some damage getting past some of the stragglers. And look at that, Jarno, despite having that drive-through penalty, is actually not far off getting a final point. I think he will be able to get that final point because Kieske's got quite a few penalties at the moment. Now here we go, this is the critical moment. Nicolas Matteo not quite close enough to challenge the Ferrari Sean for P3, but Danny is certainly close enough to challenge for the lead. I don't think Lucas would have expected going into this race today. Oh, something's happened to Paris. Something bad has happened. Paris has lost another position. He's made some mistakes the last couple of laps, and now he's now down in P7 with those penalties. He may drop out the points. So Lucas then, hunting his 2nd win in a row. He's got the Mercedes of Danny MG in a star turn performance for Mercedes. The closer battle maybe just behind. Sean got Nicholas right behind him to the top 4, separated by just over a second. Lee Finley's actually passed Paris well, so Paris is really struggling now. Here comes Danny MG. Is Danny MG going to go for a dive to the inside? No, not quite close enough. Not as close as he was when he made the move on Sean. Going to try and get onto the power. They haven't got many laps. They are counting down rapidly. The crowd are on their feet. The atmosphere is reaching a fever pitch here as they see this thrilling action here in AOR Tier 1 on PS4. Well, driver of the day. Well, there's going to be many picks for that. It's hard to choose, but let me know in the chat, which has been working now the last 10 minutes, what you think of that, who your nominations would be. There are several candidates, that is for sure. But Danny MG now has a few laps left to go. Those super softs, their best performance is probably on the edge now, so he hasn't got too many more opportunities to get this done. As Lucas gets a really good exit out of the final corner, and that will not allow Danny MG to get as close as he would like. Schnitzel is actually rapidly closing down this group now. If it wasn't for that grid penalty, the podium from 20th place would probably be on. But Schnitzel has gone up penalty. But here comes Danny MG, looks for half a move the inside, but Lucas braking very late and gets it done. And now Nicholas moves up to second, or third I should say. So Sean falling down to P4. And we'll soon have Schnitzel for company. And Sean, he's just got to keep going. He could still get a podium on penalties, so I don't believe he has any yet. So the battle for the lead here at Austria rages on. Just as it did in China last week, just as it did for most of the Bahrain Grand Prix before that. I have to catch my breath for a moment and take a quick glug of water because the action has been non-stop here, and you would expect nothing less from the Spielberg circuit in terms of esports league racing. When it's a sunny day here at Spielberg, the stars certainly shine on the drivers. Demon picks up a time penalty outside the top 10. It's another day to forget for the popular McLaren driver. But here comes Danny. Look at the overspeed he's got. He's going to go for it. No, once again, he doesn't go for it. Didn't feel confidence in the tyres that he did earlier. Maybe not wanting to risk the result that he's got right now. Here comes Schnitzel. Schnitzel is certainly going to go for a move here. She doesn't in the end because Sean had too much speed from the DRS. Now look at this. Schnitzel's going to have half a chance here on the Ferrari. He's got better tyre life at the moment. And he gets the move done up to P4. Goes Schnitzel. Now Michael is there, and given the penalties that we've seen, he could still finish on the podium, which could revitalise his title challenge, even though ideally he'd want to be winning at this stage. Closing stage then. Free to go here at Spielberg. It is Lucas, Danny MG, Nicholas Matteo, Schnitzel, Sean, Michael, Lee Finley, Paris, Casper, and Jarno Opmar in the top 10, who is now actually in the top points paying positions now. Where on earth would he be if it wasn't for those penalties? And now Lucas feeling the need to defend a little bit more. Danny MG, this is surely striking distance. No, once again. He's lacking the battery to get into that sort of kill zone, so Lucas just has to keep this going. Schnitzel has overtaken the Mercedes and Nicholas Matteo and up to P3, but that time penalty at the end is going to cost him ultimately the victory here. He's not going to be able to get past these guys and get those 5 seconds, because in terms of the second stint, he's been by far the fastest driver, underlying why he's the championship leader right now. And Michael's actually passed Sean for P5. And he's actually passed for P4 as well, so they're dropping like flies. Well, something's happened to Nicholas Matteo. I think he's reached the end of those super soft tyres, or maybe he has damage because he's just dropped from 3rd to 5th in half a lap. There's an ultimate lap then here. Danny MG hasn't got too many opportunities left because Schnitzel is going to be right on him soon, so if he doesn't get ahead, he may lose the chance completely. So it's Danny MG's sort of problems with battery management. Is that going to ultimately cost him? Is he going to go for the move here? No, once again doesn't go for the move, trying to force Lucas to go deep. It's not going to work. Schnitzel is right there. Don't forget he's got that 5-second time penalty. Lucas still holding on against this gaggle of faster cars on these super soft tyres, doing an outstanding job. He was the fastest super soft runner in qualifying. And on the softs, he's got a bit more. Yellows in sector 1, and it's Maro Asnar who retires from the race. Just over 1 lap to go here at Spielberg, and Lucas is hanging on gamely. Danny MG's got to build this up. He's got to think about the move, and it starts here, the final corner. He's got to just follow Lucas and then get a perfect exit from the final corner. But Schnitzel is in DRS range of the top 2 now. We go on board with the Mercedes driver. We saw Rosberg and Hamilton collide in 2016 here on the final lap. Are we going to see something similar? Look at the overspeed Danny MG has. He's running low on fuel as well. Is he going to go for it now? No, he's not. Just doesn't have the battery. The ERS just cuts out because he doesn't have the speed, and that's going to allow Schnitzel to get very close to the back of him. And And I think Lucas has got half the job done here in terms of getting this victory. Schnitzel is right behind them. Michael is where he needs to be on the podium because of that 5-second penalty that Schnitzel has. Not sure what Michael's penalties are like. But Lucas has managed it perfectly, and I think he's just a couple of corners away from winning here at Austria, but we're about to find out. So Lucas will head for the line, and Lucas is going to win the Austrian Grand Prix with a magnificent drive. No, Danny MG has won it. Danny MG has won it. Must have been a penalty we didn't see, but Lucas has lost it on the line, and it is Danny MG who wins here at Austria. What an incredible drive from Danny MG. His first podium that I've seen in 2 seasons here, this top tier, and it's a victory here at Austria. Lucas in second, and then Nicholas Matteo makes it a double Mercedes podium. Lee Finley in P4, outstanding. We'll go through the full result momentarily, but wow, what a shocking conclusion. I don't think anyone expected Danny MG to win this race going into this session tonight, but he has done it. And well, he must be bouncing off the walls in wherever he is right now, because that is an unbelievable result for the Mercedes team today. They hadn't even scored double figures in terms of points going into this race, and now they can celebrate an unbelievable result. They only had 6 points between them before this race, and now they've got a double podium. But Lucas will gain some ground in the championship, though, despite not winning here today. So here's your result for the race. Danny MG takes the victory here in Austria. Lucas in P2. Nicholas Matteo in P3. Lee Finley in P4. Schnitzel, well, those penalties really cost him. And actually, Michael had 6 seconds of penalties in the end. So only finished P6. Another good haul of points for Casper in P7. Sean with a pole position and P8. So a good day's work for him. Jarno in P9. Not sure what happened, but must have been some sort of glitch that got that penalty. And then Paris finishing P10. And then outside the top 10 we have Clarkey, Alex, Demon, Daridos, Kiski. And then we had Alvaro, Max Still, Hugo, Roy and Ruben. Your retirements, and Roy in particular, well, an unbelievably unlucky moment for him. And well, there is certainly a lot of talking points from that particular race, but nonetheless, what a race we've just seen in Austria. And well, the main talking points: Mercedes, an outstanding double podium. Danny MG, well, that is a starter, and I think if I'm going to pick a driver of the day, there are many candidates, it has to be said, but I think Danny MG fully deserves that driver of the day slot, because that was a brilliantly executed strategy, and once again it is the super soft strategy that wins the race. So that is clearly the best strategy around this track, without doubt, after seeing it done twice at this particular event. Well, after 36 laps of Austria, that is it for your action for Tier 1 of PS4 this week. And well, next week, same time at 7 p.m. I won't be commentating. I hope it will be Ali K returning. I will be at the Spanish Grand Prix in person next week, so I hope to enjoy that. And it will be the British Grand Prix next week at the same usual time. So a big thank you for everyone who tuned in to watch the stream, and a great race from the drivers. Big congratulations to the top 3. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.